Welcome to the Afterspin, opinions from thought leaders in our state. I want to ask Becki, Gray, and Howard Lee. North Carolina started offering school vouchers to private schools for students for low-income parents. We've had a few years now to see the results, and we have two reports which show different levels of success for our voucher program. Critics charge there's too little oversight and regulation. Proponents say parents and students have better environments in which to succeed, and having a choice is important. What's your assessment, Howard Lee?
Well, I certainly think choice is an important concept we should embrace. However, I don't take the position that we should provide vouchers to kids at the expense of our public education. And that public education would include charter schools as well as traditional public schools. So I've not been a fan of the voucher program and still am not. I don't think we owe any student the privilege of going to a private school, but we do owe every student access to a sound basic education.
Interesting. Becki, Gray, what's your take on that?
I'm a big fan of the voucher program. It's been several years since the General Assembly implemented that. We have thousands of North Carolina families that have taken advantage of the voucher program, finding a school home for their kids that best suits their needs. And in many cases, this is outside the traditional public school, outside of charter schools, outside of home schools. So it's given, and our voucher program in North Carolina is means tested, so this has given low income families opportunities that they never would have had. Now the program's been so we know there's big demand from parents and families. There's waiting list for kids to be able to take advantage of it. We're also starting to see some test scores coming out, and this, I think it was an NC State study that has just come out that reveals that new voucher school students have significant increases in language arts, math, some of those testing over their public school, traditional public school counterparts. Existing voucher students have significant increases in test scores in language arts and increases in the other things that have been tested. But I think it's important to remember too that, you know, as to Senator Lee's point of having choices and having options, parents make those choices based on a lot of things. Test scores is something that's easy to measure, but other families make decisions because it's just not the right fit for their kid, whether that's bullying, whether it's smaller
classes. Does it trouble you at all
classes.
the fact that they don't have the regulatory oversight that traditional charter schools and public schools even have?
You know, Tom, it doesn't, because what we have is we have parents and grandparents and family members who are making those choices for their kids. And any day, all day long, I will trust parents and people who know that child to make the best decision.
You know, it isn't the only option for having students succeed is not necessarily found in the private sector. Students every day are getting sound educational experiences and are succeeding in our traditional as well as our charter public schools. And I think the most important results of the civil rights movement is the ability of people to make choices. I believe strongly in choice. But at the same time, if you can't afford the choice you make, then you use what's available to you that you can't afford. And just to say to people, we'll give you a voucher, in some cases it doesn't even meet all of the costs.
I was getting ready to say, what is it, $4,500?
It doesn't even meet much of the costs. And now these kids are hung out there thinking that this is going to be their lifeline to the future. I think it's a terrible decision that has been made, and it's been a not a misappropriation, but certainly a misdirection of funds that I think would have been very helpful if we'd put the same emphasis on improving our public schools by having the resources there. So I understand the feelings of a lot of folk who think the voucher is a lifeline for these kids. That's fine, but when you measure the number, the percentage of kids who are benefiting from the voucher program, it's just very small.
Right. Well, in any circumstance, what we're going to see is most parents choose the traditional public schools. I mean, studies that have been done across the country have shown, even across the world, have shown that, you know, like in the most vibrant school choice situation, about 75% of parents choose the traditional public schools. So clearly we need to put resources there. We need to make sure that that's the best option that people will choose. But there's other options as well, whether that's homeschool, whether it's charter schools, whether it's private schools or school vouchers. I think the more choices that we have, the better.
Well, Thank you for watching the After Spin. We'll have more video all during the week on ncspin.com.